Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Edna.
And I'm Isabel Wong. Let's take a look at tonight's top stories. Chief Executive Carrie Lam delivers policy address with Lantau reclamation plan as highlight.
Lam also unveils additional subsidy to businesses to help cushion financial impact of MPF offsetting rule change.
And tunnel tolls may be adjusted to redistribute traffic.
Chief Executive Carrie Lam unveiled her second policy address today with an ambitious development plan around Lantau as the highlight.
She also unveiled a significantly larger subsidy for businesses to help soften the financial blow over the gradual abolishment of the MPF offsetting mechanism.
But there were few major initiatives as the address was seen as a continuation of current government efforts. Raymond Young reports.
There was an unusual silence as Chief Executive Carrie Lam arrived at the Legislative Council this morning to deliver her second policy address. It turned out the Pan-Democrats were waiting to stage a demonstration inside the chamber. They protested against the government's refusal to renew the work visa of Foreign Correspondents Club Vice President Victor Mallet. Convener of the Democratic camp Claudia Mo was eventually ejected, while a number of her allies walked out voluntarily. Instead of reading through all 96 pages of her address, which would have taken hours, the chief executive condensed her speech to just over half an hour by focusing on the highlight. Striving ahead, rekindling hope was the theme of her address this year, which offered over 240 new initiatives. But there were few surprises. Most of the proposals have either been rumored or were announced through unofficial channels in the past several months. The highlight was the Lantau Tomorrow Vision development scheme, which involved drastic reclamation to create 1,700 hectares of land and provided up to 400,000 homes for 1.1 million people. And in a bid to clear the backlog of government housing applications, 70% of all new homes built in the future will be public units, up from the current 60%. The policy address always comes with financial subsidies. Leading the basket of goodies this time is a $29.3 billion subsidy to employers who will no longer be able to offset severance and long service payments using mandatory Provident Fund contributions. This marks the second time the government has boosted the subsidy level, after the original proposal of $7.9 billion was increased to $17.2 billion, following strong protests from business groups. Lam also confirmed the government's intention to provide mothers 4 additional weeks of statutory maternity leave. Civil servants will be entitled to the benefit starting today, while the public has to wait until the law is amended. The government is also seeking to ban the import and sale of electronic cigarettes, in a U-turn from its original intention to regulate the product, which is becoming very popular among smokers. And in a bid to divert traffic from the hugely congested Cross-Harbour Tunnel to lesser used but more expensive alternatives, tolls may be adjusted as soon as 2020. Raymond Yang, HKIBC.
A plan to reclaim 1,700 hectares of land off the coast of Lantau will be key to Carrie Lam's solution to the city's housing shortage, despite opposition from conservationists.
Lam has also promised to speed up the development of brownfield sites in the new territories, while industrial buildings can now be converted into transitional homes. Riley Chan reports.
Solving the land shortage has always been on top of Carrie's Lam agenda, and she responded today with an ambitious reclamation scheme. Called the Lantau Tomorrow Vision, the plan aims to create 1,700 hectares of man-made islands off the southeastern coast of Lantau. Between 260,000 and 400,000 homes will be built on the artificial islands, 70% of which will be public housing. The plan can provide homes for up to 1.1 million people and create about 340,000 jobs over the next 2 to 3 decades. Lam said reclamation could commence in 2025 and the first batch of flats could be available in 2032. Sources close to the government said the plan will cost at least $400 to $500 billion. The chief executive admitted the price tag is expensive, but insisted it will be worth it.
It is really, in my view, quite narrow-minded to try to avoid doing things because it is expensive. I could go for the populist route and not do this sort of controversial things, but that's not good for the people, especially the younger generation who wants to see hope in living in Hong Kong.
Lantau is home to the airport and a mega bridge linking Hong Kong to Macau and the mainland. Lam hoped the man-made islands positioned between Lantau and urban areas in the so-called central waters could serve as a double gateway that links the city to the world and the Greater Bay Area region. A coordination office will be set up soon to oversee the program. As to the task force on land supplies findings from its recent consultation, Lam said she will carefully consider them when a report is submitted by the end of this year. On short-term land supply, the government will speed up the development of brownfield sites in the new territories. Industrial buildings will also be allowed for conversion into transitional homes as a quick remedy to the housing crunch. Over 150,000 families are waiting for public rental housing, with an average waiting time of 5.3 years. To clear the backlog of applications, the government may now adjust the ratio of public and private homes. A review will be launched to see if public flats should make up more than 60% of all new homes built in the future. To better utilize resources, public housing tenants who are at least 70 years old can receive a lifetime rent waiver if they are willing to swap to smaller units. Riley Chan, HKIBC.
The government has proposed to extend maternity leave from 10 weeks to 14 weeks, with the government shouldering the additional cost to employers.
Carrie